Hi everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I think most of you guys do, Nikki Ellen, and I am with a group that came to talk to you tonight about what we can do about what's going on up here. There's a group of us that went a little above and beyond, and we found an attorney that can help us. And so we brought him here tonight. His name, Chris, you want to stand up here? Chris has been brought up to speed. We've given him lots of information, legal information, and we want all of you to know if you have donated money, what we're doing with it. If you haven't donated money and you're thinking about it, it's going to a good cause. And where do we go from here? Because obviously right now we're just sitting and spinning. It's not a good place for us. So anyway, I'm going to turn the mic over to Chris, and then when he's all done, we'll talk about what's in this packet.
All right, thanks, Nikki. Hello, Logan. As she mentioned, my name is Chris Covey. I was contacted about, well, some time ago by a group of citizens from Logan who are concerned about some conduct of the city council. And I was at the last meeting, so I have seen kind of the passion of the community here. And I want to first start by saying, at this point, I've been retained by a group of about 8 citizens. So I don't want anybody to leave here thinking that I'm all of your lawyers. I'm representing a small group of citizens, and that's who I take my direction from. And the process for change here, what the stated goals are to remove certain city council members who they feel have not acted up to their ethical and legal obligations. A little bit of background: in the state of Iowa, there is no recall procedure. I live in Omaha. I went to school at Drake in Des Moines. I live in Omaha. I'm admitted in both states, so I've got one foot on each side of the Missouri. And Omaha, as you may recall, just went through a big recall process with Mayor Fahey. Well, Iowa doesn't have that. So Iowa's got a series of processes that citizens can avail themselves of. Some involve the Attorney General, some involve the county attorney, that can be instigated when the level of misconduct has reached the level that the citizens feel is unacceptable. That's essentially what I've been assisting with, is preparing the materials to go forward and file the necessary paperwork with the necessary people. And I apologize if it sounds a little cryptic. I'm not completely prepared to discuss all of the details. It's kind of strange that some people are still in this room, and this is a new one for me. So that's essentially what I've been retained to do. I've been authorized to come up and tell you that much, and I've been told to answer questions but use my discretion. So if you have a question, I'm happy to listen to it. If I don't answer, it's not because it may be because I don't know, and I'm happy to tell you that. But it'd be more if it's what I consider to be legal strategy, I'll probably defer and not answer that at this time. But anybody? Yes. You don't have to tell me your name and address.
I do live in town.
Okay.
If the meeting was illegal where Angela was fired, and it's obvious it was from what I've read, isn't there a way to stop the process? I mean, to me, she's still our city clerk or city administrator, and Joe is still our city attorney. Isn't a court injunction to stop? Of course, I don't see anything happening with the hiring process. So
yeah, and I can't speak to what the city council may or may not do with respect to the hiring process. The question he asked was if the process used by the city council to terminate the city administrator and to terminate the services of Mr. Lauterbach was illegal, is there some type of relief that the court can grant an injunction or something like that? My short answer is she was at the last meeting with an attorney. That would really be an issue of her employment and with the city, and that's really not what I mean. I can tell you that yes, there could be a process for that. That could be some relief, and whether she chooses to seek that with her attorney or not is really not what I've been retained to do, so I don't want to speak too much about that. But yeah, there would be, I don't want to get into the distinctions between equitable relief and legal relief because you'll all fall asleep on me, but But that would be a question really for her attorney and her, and that's going to be a legal strategy that they have. So I doubt they'd probably be willing to share that with you anyway. So,
if this goes to the court, are the city council members that are in question here, do they have to pay for their own lawyer fees, or does the city protect them?
The short answer is it depends on the format in which it goes into court. And again, I'm not trying to be evasive, but there are several mechanisms that we can use under Iowa law, and depending on which one is used, the short answer is the city will probably reimburse them for the fees that they incur, but a lot of it's outcome determinative. And again, I'm starting to get into a little of the detail that I'm not really supposed to get into tonight, but that's a concern.
If it comes to the point they have to hire their own lawyers and pay a fine on their own, not the city, if they are guilty of what they've done? Well,
there's not going to be a fine here. There's no civil or criminal penalties associated with what we're looking at. What we're looking at is simply the removal process. Essentially, since there's no recall, this group of citizens is not content to simply wait until the next election cycle, and they're exploring what can be done now.
How long did this process essentially take?
Decades. No, it'll seem like that. That's a very good question. A lot of that is going to be the court schedule is going to determine that. I don't know how well you followed the budget cuts in Iowa with the court system, but a lot of the courts are going to restricted hours. The judges are traveling the circuits. Their workloads have increased. None of that is good news for you, but that's the reality of it. So I really can't ballpark a time frame for you.
Talk about months or years?
Well, months, because the election is going to be here before too many years. We don't want to drag it out past that. We actually can't drag it out past that. That would cut it off. So, again, this group of citizens will be mindful of the timeline.
So,
what was that?
We can prosecute them for what they've done wrong now, even if they get voted out. We can.
Well, the remedy we're looking for is removal.
I realize that.
So if they're voted out, it would become moot in the legal system. There's nothing else we can do. We're not seeking any other remedy from them. We're not seeking dollars or an apology or anything like that. So if the council members that are targeted get voted out,
we're seeking justice.
Yes, and justice has been described to me as removal.
Therefore, their time is up.
Yeah.
That's what we're at.
I'm sorry.
Before you have to wait till later.
Their time isn't up until 2014.
Well, two of them.
Yeah, if this was a November election, I wouldn't be here. I mean, that's the reality of it. So they're looking for relief faster than the election. That's why they came to me in the first place.
Does it look like you can do something with them?
Well,
remove them? I mean, does it look like?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that the law has a process for doing it. What I'm not going to talk about tonight is my impressions about the various allegations of misconduct, how those would stack up against the legal procedure that's in place. That's stuff that's kind of strategic, and the newspaper's here and I'm on camera, so I think my clients appreciated we kept a little attorney-client privilege there. So,
is there a mechanism by which monetary fines and other things, is that a separate mechanism, or does it not exist?
There are ways to pursue public officials if there's some type of, I'll use the word theft. I think there's a nicer term for it, embezzlement. But if that were the case, yeah, there's separate mechanisms for that to make, to make any city official or park board employee or sheriff, whoever, is skimming from the public kitty, there's different mechanisms to make them put that back. So. Yes?
Maybe you've already answered this, but as far as the legal expense that's incurred on their side, can the city recoup any of that from that person?
Well, that gets tricky, and there's that becomes clearer as we get closer to actually getting into court, primarily because, as I said, it's outcome determinative. It depends on what the actual allegations are. But the initial, my understanding is the initial fees would be paid, and then the public entity, in this case the city, or if it was a school board, it would be the school board, then would reimburse them for those fees. So that's the general answer. There's some specifics there, and it depends on what path ours takes.
Is that reimbursed only if they're acquitted, or however you?
You know, not necessarily, and it's yeah. That's really all I can tell you at this point. It's a little more complicated, and at this point I can't give you the crystal clear path for what that would look like. We're just not deep enough into it. Yes.
How long is it gonna take you to get the ball rolling and get this on the road?
How long? Well, Bill. You know, we've been working for some time compiling what I need to move forward, and now I really can't give you a timeline. I mean, that's really dependent on.
What we can do now to help you to get it going fast.
Not really. I mean, the right people have the right information. As far as I'm concerned, we just need to. We've been compiling it, and then I'll say, okay, I've seen this. Here's what I want to see, and then somebody else will go out and grab that for me. And so as we build this, you know, they're getting me the information, and we'll know. We'll have a much better timeline after tonight. But it's not. It's going to happen sooner than later. It's not going to be something that you're going to be hearing about for 4 months, and then finally something happens. I mean, we just don't have that kind of time. Yes.
So the way I understand it, you're telling us that if the three of them get together and continue to have illegal meetings, there's nothing we can do to stop them?
Well, it depends on what you mean by illegal meetings. If there is, in any form, an illegal meeting, whether it's because they are violating the Open Meetings Act, because the agendas aren't, the notices aren't published properly, those would all just be additional incidents of misconduct. And they have to rise to a particular level of misconduct before they can be removed. And so, no, I mean, we can't send in a posse to bust the meeting up if that's what you want to do. Leave your pitchforks at home.
What I'm saying is, like, they can make so many decisions between now and...
Can't. I want to be clear. I was at the last meeting. You're easily excitable.
What level of misconduct are we at right now?
You know, that's, again, that we're crossing the line into something I really don't want to share publicly, because that's a product of what we're compiling, and I'm not ready to just kind of throw all those cards out on the table at this point.
High enough? Close to high enough?
7, but I'm not going to tell you what a scale is.
You really plan on winning this case then, right?
I go into every case trying to get my clients the relief that they want, and oftentimes a win in my profession doesn't look like it does on TV. There's not a jury that comes back and says winner or loser. A lot of times what a win looks like is what the client wants. I've had cases where the juries come back against us, but the client felt like they won because the damages amount were so little. I mean, so there's, if you ask me if I'm planning to win, I never take a case that I don't plan to win. But again, every case is fact determinative, and we're working hard.
So yes.
Well, yes, but I don't want to overpromise.
I'll take that as a yes.
All right.
And if you win, you get paid. If you don't, we don't.
All right, it's been lovely, Logan. I'm out of here. No, Bill said I could have all the screws I want. Anything else? Nikki, do you want to wrap this up here? So that's the general answer. There's some specifics there, and it depends on what path ours takes.
Is that reimbursed only if they're acquitted, or however you?
You know, not necessarily, and it's. Yeah, that's really all I can tell you at this point. It's a little more complicated, and at this point I can't give you the crystal clear path for what that would look like. We're just not deep enough into it. Yes?
How long is it gonna take you to get the ball rolling and get this on the road?
How long? Well, Bill? We've been working for some time compiling what I need to move forward, and I really can't give you a timeline. I mean, that's really dependent on...
What we can do now to help you to get it going back?
Not really. I mean, the right people have the right information. As far as I'm concerned, we just need to. We've been compiling it, and then I'll say, okay, I've seen this. Here's what I want to see, and then somebody else will go out and grab that for me. And so as we build this, they're getting me the information, and we'll know. We'll have a much better timeline after tonight. But it's not. It's going to happen sooner than later. It's not going to be something that you're going to be hearing about for 4 months, and then finally something happens. I mean, we just don't have that kind of time. Yes.
So the way I understand it, you're telling us that if the three of them get together and continue to have illegal meetings, there's nothing we can do to stop them?
Well, it depends on what you mean by illegal meetings. If there is, in any form, an illegal meeting, whether it's because they are violating the Open Meetings Act, because the agendas aren't, the notices aren't published properly, those would all just be additional incidents of misconduct. And they have to rise to a particular level of misconduct before they can be removed. And so, no, I mean, we can't send in a posse to bust the meeting up if that's what you want to do. Leave your pitchforks at home.
What I'm saying is, like, they can make so many decisions between now and...
Can't. I want to be clear. I was at the last meeting. You're easily excitable.
What level of misconduct are we at right now?
You know, that's, again, that we're crossing the line into something I really don't want to share publicly, because that's a product of what we're compiling, and I'm not ready to just kind of throw all those cards out on the table at this point.
High enough? Close to high enough?
7, but I'm not going to tell you what a scale is.
You really plan on winning this case then, right?
I go into every case trying to get my clients the relief that they want, and oftentimes a win in my profession doesn't look like it does on TV. There's not a jury that comes back and says winner or loser. A lot of times what a win looks like is what the client wants. I've had cases where the jury's come back against us, but the client felt like they won because the damages amount were so little. I mean, so there's, if you ask me if I'm planning to win, I never take a case that I don't plan to win. But again, every case is fact determinative, and we're working hard.
So yes.
Well, yes, but I don't want to overpromise.
I'll take that as a yes.
All right.
And if you win, you get paid. If you don't, we don't.
All right, it's been lovely, Logan. I'm out of here. No, Bill said I could have all the screws I want.
Thank you, Chris. That's probably more information that we've got from legal side of anything since March. You got some questions answered? Okay. Made me feel better when we talked to you too. Real quick, I just want to go through the stuff that we handed you in your packet. Bill told me I wasn't supposed to use the word anger, but we're all angry. He said use emotion, so we'll go with that. I know when you watch what's going on here, we all are emotional. I probably am one of the worst because I've been on the park board. I tried to do something good, and it turned into something that I will never be able to describe to my children. So, where do we go from here? Please take that anger and write a letter, because that's the only way COVID can help us. So I need you to go home, write a letter, make it addressed to each one of these people that is on this paper, and send it. And I'm asking you to send it on Monday. The reason I'm asking you to do it on Monday is because I want their mailboxes flooded with letters. If you know of people that aren't here tonight and they don't have a packet, please take one to them. If you know of someone that doesn't come because, you know, there's some reason they can't be here, but they're very interested and they care about what's going on, tell me. I will take them a packet myself.
Nikki, is this just for the town people?
No. Well, I should not just say that. Where'd Chris go? Is it city limits people, or can it be citizens?
You know, I actually haven't been part of the letter writing. I'll defer to
Okay.
all of that.
I think it can be anybody. Yeah.
Anybody who's concerned about.
Okay. I think it can be anybody too. I'm going to write letters. If they want to throw them out, so be it.
You're all constituents to these people.
Yep. I figure if I can serve on the park board, I can speak up about what's going on.
If you have a business in this town, you have a vested interest.
I know. Should I stand up here and say 311 East 7th Street? It is what it is. It's not worth it. We have enough voices in here to be a voice.
Do you have a preference, email versus a written mail letter?
You can email, but I really want them to physically have to open these up and look at what is being said in these letters.
And there's labels.
And there's labels in there, so just slap a label on it, write the same letter to all of them, and put your concerns in. I would ask you though, and please listen to this part. If you really want to make a difference, it needs to be legal information. I know we all have things that are personal and you think, oh my goodness, my opinion is. Well, the court system doesn't care about our opinions. That's just the way that it is. So try to stick to, I was at that meeting and I saw this happen. I did put a few things that were mentioned in the original letter that went to the ombudsman, plus a few things that we've talked about since then. If you need some ideas, if you have something else that you've seen going on that you know just isn't right, go ahead and tell them about it. Nobody's going to
Nikki,
tell you what not to do.
Why don't they tell you too, so he's got it?
So Chris has,
Right.
right, yeah. If you have something else that we don't know about, we'd love to hear
Yeah,
it.
you haven't heard.
Yeah. I have all kinds of park board and grant information that Chris is going to get here, so.
But I think on another note, if you are concerned that you can't say anything because of the retaliation, write your letter because nobody else is going to find out
Yeah,
about
write
it.
your letter. Just take that emotion and put it into your letter, because we need to get, at the end of the day, if we really want to make a difference and get rid of these people, we have got to let the Attorney General know something is wrong in our town. And if he looks at what we have and says, oh, that's nice, but not enough, they're not going to do anything. But if we get 400 letters to him and we all vote for him, he's going to look at what's going on in Logan. And that is what we want to do at the end of the day.
Is there a written company policy that sign, and if so, is there any way that somebody has a copy I can get one?
I don't know. We could probably
What
find
was
that
the
out.
question?
Yeah, actually, Andrew could probably ask that for you.
I couldn't hear her.
Can you ask it again?
Is there a written conflict of interest policy that the city council members have to sign?
No, we currently have no policies on how council members should behave, really.
Okay.
There is a great set of council code of conduct and a council code of ethics that I obtained back in April or May from the city of Corning that they adopted after going through a similar process in the city of Corning. And I believe it's something that eventually our council needs to seriously look at putting in place for all future council members.
And then my other question is, would there be any value in writing or U.S. senators because they're statewide?
Well, that was brought up to me. I called Donna Berry to ask her, and she said probably won't. But at this point, what's one more letter? Probably not. But if you're going to write it and you want your voice to be heard, we put the label in there. Just send it.
Hey, we all vote.
That's right. We all vote. When it comes down to it, we all vote. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the employees have a book that they're supposed to go by. Does the council have one?
They do. They have an employee handbook.
No, they have one too, the council has one of their own?
Oh, no, I think just the city employees have their own.
Yeah, the city employees, but they don't need the council.
No, we don't have one.
No, they don't.
No, but they're supposed to follow the state
Code.
laws of the state of Iowa.
That's the point, that conflict of interest is already defined.
Yeah, it's
By
in the laws.
And if you're an elected official with binding decision-making authority, you have to follow certain rules and regulations, not the code.
And it's just like anything else. Ignorance of the state laws does not give them an out. And they were supposed to get educated so that they didn't make the same mistakes again, and they've done it over and over. And they haven't addressed anything that was the ombudsman said they were supposed to.
So
do,
take
like
that though and make it factual. State what they did over and over again. That's what I want you to take from this. Think about the stuff that you have seen ongoing. And I put a bunch of stuff in here. I shouldn't say just me. I have a whole group of people, and I'll make them stand up here in a minute. We also put in there the letters that came from Joe Lauterbach to Skip. If you haven't seen those or you haven't read through them, read them and then reread them, because they did exactly what we thought. He told them his opinion, and they fired him because they didn't like what he said. So there's tons of information in that about, I can't tell you how to do it, but I would advise you, if you want me to defend you, you should follow a certain procedure. And that was definitely not done.
I think you're using the word they too much, but if you use they, you're including Councilman Crummett.
I know, and poor Denny's the only one who stood up for us this whole time.
Well, I'm glad I have Mike now, and thanks to the citizens for voting him in. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for doing this, because you guys are probably the only ones that are going to be able to do it, because Mike and I can't kick them out, so. You got elections coming up, so make sure you don't re-vote them in.
Who is the need that's gonna come down, is that gonna come down across the board on the whole council and the mayor, or is that gonna come down?
What do you
How
think,
does that
Chris?
happen?
Does it come across the board,
Can
or?
you really truly isolate?
Yeah, you could target one or all of the council
I
members.
think
All right, so it's not going to drop the heat on.
Right, on Dennis.
Well, unless you wanted to.
No. Only for the fact that he said he's not running again.
Oh, yeah, he's going to.
Mike,
I was wondering, since Mike and Denny are here, do you mind if I throw a question at you? Is that a yes? Since your motion was, last time, was to go into closed session to discuss the possible reappointment of Angela Winther and discuss possible litigation. Am I wrong in that? That's what your motion was last time, for the closed session meeting? Yes. I think most of us expected some sort of action item on tonight's agenda. So are we working under the assumption that you decided not to reappoint Angela?
No,
I wouldn't read anything into that.
I think they just haven't had time yet.
Okay.
Is that fair?
I wouldn't read anything.
Oh, right. Anybody does that kind of stuff. We also need all of you to come up and sign these petitions. If we have all of our papers that we're going to send in and all of our legal information, I just think there's no way that the Attorney General, if we get 300 signatures, they're gonna look into this. They're going to come and find out what's going on. I tell people who have never been to a meeting or go, what is going on? I just tell them, I can't explain it. I don't want to put my opinion into it. Just come and watch it for yourself. It's the easiest, right, Chris? Just come and watch it for yourself. It's not comical. I shouldn't laugh about it, but it's very easy to sit in the back of the room with your ball hat on and just watch what's going on up here and go,
Really?
And I just want to take a minute to, I have been attending these meetings since March because Gary and I have been doing park board stuff, or trying to. And I want to publicly let Angela know that she was the only one that stood up for us that whole time. There was nobody up here. Well, Dennis did. I shouldn't say. Dennis did stand up for us. But Angela was the one who went to bat and said, this is a park, you guys. Go clean up your park. And so one thing just led to another, and I just want to tell her, thank you, because she has made the sacrifice for all of us. So if you take anything away from this, take your emotion, please go write your letters and send them on Monday. And if you, first of all, the group of citizens who signed Cody's paper, can you stand up so people know who you are? Hartwig, Jim, Bill, Mike, Renee, come on up here, you guys. I want people to see who you are. So if you guys have questions, you can come ask us. One thing that we did all agree on, Nidra, here she comes. One thing that we did all agree on, because we don't want to spend your money the way that the council's spending your money, Bill is our contact to Covey. So none of us contact him in the in-between time. We all get together, we tell Bill what we want Chris to know, and then he takes care of that. So we just want to let you know we have a system.
So is he your mayor or your clerk?
Depends on what hat
He's the one that's been responsible for our legal agendas.
Hey, careful, you can shoot a dictator.
I'm standing over here.
Financial need and how collectively we can all make donations to help.
We actually would like you, if you can make donations, you can bring them to First National Bank. You can take them right into the hardware store, and the chamber is actually housing that money because we didn't want the council to get a hold of that. So the chamber is, since we already have a system. Oh, do we now? Okay. Well, there you go. So just give it to First National or give it to Bill. And but we do appreciate those donations so we can get something done and finish this process. I might be stepping out on a limb here, but after all these months and what we've been doing, I feel like we're 3/4 the way. We got a little ways to go yet, but I think the letter writing campaign is going to send us into that last round, and I think your signatures here, and if any one of you want to help us get signatures out to the community, we would welcome your help.
If you sign here.
Okay, we're also gonna put papers in the bank and the hardware store if you have people that didn't come tonight that want to sign.
Those have to be citizens.
No, anybody can sign those. Sign away, Jack.
Mr. Colby's very expensive. Everything's covered until now. We still have a little bit of fun left. His trip up here is donated. Is it? So, we probably, I guess if I would project it, we'd probably raise about a third of what we need. So we could use some donations. And another thing, thank you so much for the donations. We haven't asked yet, and it's amazing how much money we've actually raised without asking. So thank you so much for everything, but we're still going to need some. And there's been several people that have come in and said, don't let money be the factor. So we've got some donors that are backing us. But it'll all help.
A wise former mayor once told me that no matter what your project or your issue, if it was withstanding, the money would always follow. I don't know where he went, but keep that tucked away.
Start under the table.
Yeah.